From a way to make any brawler deal double damage to an account created in the year 0, these are 207 Brawl Stars things you need to know about. Carl might be a decent miner, but there's one thing he's really built for: absolutely obliterating boxes. If you throw him into a custom match, surround him in a bunch of power cube boxes, and then activate his super, it's game over for those boxes. He just spins like a madman and shreds everything around him. It's one of the most satisfying things you'll ever see in Brawl Stars. Speaking of demolition, Bo might just be the perfect guy for the job, but instead of blowing stuff up the usual way, let's see just how many times he can stack on the map. So if you head into the training grounds and just start spamming his super, turns out you can place an infinite number of mines. And yeah, it actually works. But here's the real question: what happens if you hit his exploding gadget after all that? Oh no. Squeak's super is already insane when it comes to the splash damage, but what happens if we stack it? For that, you have to convince all your friends to pick Squeak so you could create the ultimate demolition squad. Line up a bunch of boxes, count it down, and the moment all those supers hit at once, boom! I'm pretty sure they just nuked Supercell servers. One brawler that literally broke the laws of physics in Brawl Stars is Finn. His ability is just way too satisfying to use. Sometimes it straight up breaks the game, like giving Carl a triple pickaxe spam or slowing down enemy projectiles so much it feels like you're dodging bullets in the Matrix. Yeah, Finn doesn't just play the game, he rewrites the rules. One of the most OG satisfying feelings in Brawl Stars has to be dropping Jesse's turret in the old bot boss game mode. The second Scrappy landed, it would start auto-blasting bots left and right, projectiles flying everywhere. It was pure chaos, and it felt amazing. Honestly, if we had Scrappy 2.0 back then, it would have been way too overpowered. The bots would not stand a chance. Now, this has to be the most lucky Hank super shot. This Hank is getting approached by Cordelius, but also at the same time, there are Colt and Stu, which are shooting from sides. So, what can Hank do to save himself from those foes? He actually uses his super and lands every single shot on the enemies, eliminating the whole team. I think Hank needs to get nerfed. We've already talked about having all brawlers as 0 trophies, but YouTuber Ben Tim1 took it to a whole new level and created the ultimate cursed account. What did he do? He unlocked every single brawler while still having 0 trophies. But there was a catch. He could only use the shop, Brawl Pass, and credits. No pushing, no gameplay, just pure grind and a lot of gems. In total, it took him 91 days and a whopping $790 to pull it off. All that just to flex an account that literally never played. I bet you didn't know that there's a glitch that can make your friends think you own a skin even when you don't. It's called the skin pin glitch, and it gives you the pin for a skin you never actually unlocked. One player even had the Grom skin pin, but surprise, no Grim skin in sight. You could spam the pin all you want and flex like you own it, but never actually use the skin so you don't look like a total noob. This weird little bug can sometimes pop up from star drops, so yeah, keep an eye out. Now with a Hat officially has the most cursed Brawl Stars account ever, and it's all thanks to Supercell. During one of her streams, Supercell hit her up with a challenge. If she could get 1,000 likes on a post within 24 hours, they would reward her with the gold tick skin. And guess what? She did it. Over 1,000 likes, challenge complete. But here's the weird part. To unlock a gold skin, you need to own the silver skin first. Except Nat doesn't. She skipped straight to gold tick without silver. She's literally the only player in the world with this glitchy flex. There's nothing more mind-blowing than breaking the rules of Brawl Stars by pushing the limits of the game itself. One of those insane limits was the historic world record for most healing, and it was pulled off by a player named Kevo using Hank. This dude managed to heal a jaw-dropping 23 million health points in one match. Yeah, 23 million. We need a Hank nerf. But this next record is straight up mind-blowing. It's the world record for the trick shot with the most bounces, and it was all pulled off by a player named Nico-san. To make it happen, he used a map packed with bouncers and had his friends bring Sprout to throw walls and add even more ricochets. After a bunch of perfectly timed plays and total chaos, the ball ended up bouncing 17 times before scoring. 17! That's not just a trick shot, that's art. I bet you've never seen a save this insane. Joker was cornered in Brawl Ball, with Surge ready to jump and Tara holding the ball. Looked like an easy goal, until Joker casually walked into his own goal, baited the pass, and popped his gadget, stole the ball, and wiped them all out. Easily one of the greatest saves in Brawl Stars history. If you lined up Max and Jae-Young side by side in a race, Jae-Young would leave her in the dust. Yep, he's officially faster than the fastest brawler in the game. And if Max ever handed him her energy drink, he would probably break space and time. Did you know it was actually possible to get 32 trophies from a single match? And no, I'm not talking about stacking underdog in a win streak. I mean a legit game mode that handed out 32 trophies by itself. It was called Trophy Escape, and if you managed to collect all the trophies before your opponent, boom! Boom! 32 trophies in one go. That's actually insane. Willow can control 2 enemies at the same time. And no, this isn't a glitch. Here's how it works. All you need is Sphinx, who should replace his super. Then you fire Willow super at an enemy and recharge it instantly. Now fire a second super at a different target. Boom! You've just mind controlled both enemies at once. Hey, just one question real quick. Why so serious? Okay, yeah. Okay, that was weird. But this is a typical thing a Chester main says. When Chester first dropped, he wasn't just a joker. He was a broker. He was broken. Get it? Okay, I'll stop. Anyway, Supercell introduced this chaotic, unpredictable brawler with randomized supers and insane burst damage. His 4-ball attack could literally one-shot half the most of brawlers. But if we're pointing fingers at what made him truly busted, it was totally that stun super. It didn't just lock you in place, it hit like a truck and basically guaranteed a free kill. Thankfully, Supercell nerfed him hard, but let's be real. Even today, Chester's still a complete menace. Back in the beta days of Brawl Stars, Daryl wasn't just rolling. He was basically a car. His super had such insane rage that he could fly across the entire map with one spin, crash into you with those shotguns, and delete you in seconds. And even after global release, he still came with a handful of bugs. Honestly, Daryl might have been Supercell's first $10 walking glitch nightmare. Jesse's turret is not supposed to chill in the middle of the open field. Dropping it out in the open just gives long-range brawlers an easy time getting rid of it. But if you place it behind a wall, it can catch enemies off guard, shooting them when you're too busy fighting your teammate and actually survive more than 5 seconds. Whenever you hit someone with B super and slow them down, just start spamming auto aim like there's no tomorrow. Seriously, with how slow they move, your shots will land like 99% of the time. Use Mr. P's gadget when his porter is low health because it'll regenerate it to max health. When playing Clancy, all you need to do is rush to his stage 3 mode as soon as possible. Shoot at 82 degrees with Mo to make his attack deal double damage. Many players don't realize this, but auto-aiming with Rosa is one of the worst things you can do. Yeah, she's a tank, but her range is actually longer than most people think. So if you're just spamming auto-aim, you're throwing away half her potential. Just like with any other ranged brawler, you gotta predict where your enemies are moving and aim your shots for max damage. Let's talk about the biggest apocalypse Brawl Stars has ever seen, when players completely forget that regular brawlers even existed. Yeah, I'm talking about the Buzz Lightyear takeover during the Toy Story collab in 2024 to 2025. For the first time ever, Supercell dropped a limited time brawler that you could only play during the event. Max rank, max hypercharge, 3 different modes to choose from, and of course, they made him completely overpowered. Every match was just Buzz Lightyear versus Buzz Lightyear. Other brawlers might as well have been deleted. And when Supercell was asked about it, they just said they wanted to make him fun to play. Fun? It was a war zone, Supercell. In the 2025 update that removed masteries, Supercell accidentally unleashed what they'd probably call a bunch of $10 problems. And one of those problems brought Janet right back to her title as the most hated brawler in the game, because she got a glitch that gave her infinite hypercharges. Literally, use her hypercharge once, and every super after that is going to be hypercharged. She could stay in the air and aim her bombs easily. Thanks, Supercell, for inventing new ways for players to rage. You know what's the best flex in Brawl Stars? Owning every single skin from a collection, like all of them. And if it's something limited, like the SpongeBob skins, oh man, that's next level bragging rights. You get to flex so hard your friends start rolling their eyes, muting the group chat, and maybe even blocking you. But hey, they only hate you because they ain't you. If you're a Piper Pro, I've got some great news. You've got one of the most satisfying playstyles in the entire game. It's like playing a balloon popping simulator with explosives. Every shot goes pew and boom, one tap delete. Watching enemies disappear from across the map? Mwah, chef's kiss. Honestly, it's a skill worth bragging about. Gale is easily one of the most underrated brawlers in the game. His powers aren't just strong, they're hilarious. Like, if someone tries to dash straight into you, just drop a launch pad and watch them go flying across the map. Bonus points if they land in the poison zone on a community map and instantly get deleted. It's not just a win, it's a humiliation. Gale doesn't just beat you, he embarrasses you. Did you know there's a club in Brawl Stars that's just as legendary as it is cursed? It's real, and it's called the Star Legendary Club. And yeah, the name says it all. This club only has 7 members, and every single one of them has exactly 1 legendary brawler, all at level 1 and 0 trophies. It's like the Avengers, but inside the Brawl Stars. What's even crazier is how insanely rare it is to pull a legendary as your first ever brawler. This club isn't just legendary, it's basically ultra legendary. This one micro player had everyone completely confused with his stats. At first glance, he's just got 1,000 trophies, but somehow over 12,300 3v3 victories, and his highest trophy count, only 10,000, which makes no sense. How can someone have more wins than trophies? Well, players finally cracked the code. Turns out he was probably using the classic trophy escape method, grinding wins while purposely dropping trophies. Did you know that Supercell once accidentally created a bunch of cursed accounts? Back in 2020, they dropped an exclusive Brawl Day skin, Red Nose Nita, and it was supposed to be a one-time thing. If you missed it, too bad, because it's never supposed to come back. So players who bought it felt like they owned one of the rarest skins of the game until Supercell messed up. They accidentally made the skin available in content creator shops for 30,000 elixir years later. And not only did those creators get the skin, they also got 3 extra copies for giveaways. So yeah, suddenly a bunch of players were rocking a skin that should have been gone forever. And just like that, cursed accounts were born. Did you know that Tribe literally made everyone's jaw drop with a 24-second win? Yep, it actually happened. They were up against SSGB, and the second the match started, they went straight for the heist safe. The map gave them the perfect setup, so they brought in BB to bounce her bubblegum, while Daryl and Barley just melted the safe. And boom, game over in 24 seconds. That's literally a speed run. Back in the days when Siege was still a thing, Team Totem pulled off one of the greatest comebacks in Brawl Stars history. They were on the ropes, the enemy team had built up bolts, summoned the boss robot, and dropped Totem's turret all the way down to 1%. Most people would have called it game over right there, but not Totem. They turned things around, gathered just enough bolts to spawn their own boss, and sent it charging toward the enemy. The clock was ticking, 15 seconds left, and the enemy turret was still sitting at 85%. But with some absolutely insane plays, Totem pulled off the impossible and dropped it to 0. You could say they had a Totem of Undying. Now this comeback play is a straight up masterpiece. In this heist match, the red team had the upper hand the entire time. Everyone thought it was over for blue, but then Colette had a genius moment. Instead of defending, she slips past everyone, dodging attacks like a ninja, and heads straight for the enemy safe. And just before the timer hits 0, she pops her hypercharged super and blasts the safe for massive damage. Game over. The blue team wins it in literally the final seconds. Most players know that indestructible walls in Brawl Stars look like this, but what they don't know is that back in the OG days, they looked like this. Literal scrap blocks. Detailed, rugged, and actually fit the map vibe perfectly. But then, Supercell looked at them one day and said, nah, and replaced them with the plain, unbreakable walls we have now. So yeah, feels like Brawl Stars went through reverse evolution with this one. Did you know that Trio Showdown actually existed before it was officially added? Yep, and it wasn't some secret game mode. It was a full-on bug. Back in the day, the game would sometimes throw you into a match with 2 random teammates instead of just 1. Totally busted. And even worse, that meant one poor player on the enemy team was left completely solo. Just imagine loading into a match and realizing you're that guy. But that's not as crazy as the time you could actually win a gem grab match with just 1 gem. Yeah, not 10. 1. There was a glitch where the second you picked up a gem, the game thought you somehow hit the magic number and instantly started the countdown. The other team would just sit there, completely confused, wondering how you got 10 gems in the first 15 seconds. And by the time they realized it was a bug, it was already over. What happens when you make every brawler stronger with the spice of the RNG? You get one of the most controversial updates ever. Mutations. Introduced during the Godzilla update, these let you roll a random ability that boosted your brawler in weird ways. Some were completely useless, and others were completely overpowered, like Rico, whose bullets could bounce infinitely, basically turning him into a 1 brawler army. Supercell realized pretty fast that this was a huge mistake and rushed to fix it later in the event, but by then, players had already abused the OP mutations and skyrocketed up the ranks. This concept was brought to many events afterward, and yeah, not exactly a fan favorite update. Let's rewind back to the OG days when Shelly got her brand new star power, Band-Aid. And this thing, it was beyond broken. Essentially, whenever Shelly dropped below 40% HP, she'd heal all the way back to full. Yeah, full health. So what did that mean? Pure chaos. Shelly players could just run non-stop, play ultra aggressive, and never worry about dying. And the worst part, Supercell decided to go on vacation right when this dropped. So we were stuck with unkillable Shelly for almost 2 whole months. I can already picture the showdown lobbies filled with Shellys. Use Nani's shield star power in the hot zone. While she's in her super, it blocks a whopping 80% 10% of all damage. So while enemies are panicking and trying to blast you out of the zone, you're just chilling there claiming it for free. Use Sandy's gadget to stun enemies right as they try to block your goal shot, and you'll get a free goal. When enemies rush you while you're playing Tick, there's one thing you should always have ready: his self-destruction gadget. The second they get too close, just push them away. Keep your enemies on high freeze with Lou, because this way they'll deal less damage to you. Pam is overpowered against brawlers with low reload speed. When you're out of your ammo, just use her instant ammo reload gadget to spray enemies again. To increase Sprout's attack range, bounces attacks off the wall. Did you know that Lou is actually the brawler that can make the most numbers pop up on your screen at once? Yeah, seriously, we got a full squad of Lous all throwing their supers on top of a healing pad at the same time. They're freezing each other, taking damage, healing non-stop, and the screen just exploded with numbers everywhere. Speaking of Sprout, did you know there's an illegal map that lets you cover the entire map with his wall? Yep, someone figured out how to place barrels in just the right spots so that when Sprout uses his super, it spreads across the whole map like wildfire. So let's see how it actually looks. We hop in, line up the throw, drop the super, and boom! The wall covers everything. Well, except for a few tiny little corners, but still, this map upgrades Sprout's super. Tick's situation was completely out of hand. This brawler was basically bombing the entire server, and everyone hated it. When his hypercharge dropped in 2024, it gave his main bomb a bunch of extra bombs after it exploded. And here's the crazy part: it recharged both his super and hypercharge insanely fast. Now add in his regular attacks, his gadget that multiplies bombs, and event mutations, and yeah, the whole map basically turned into a landmine field. Did you know Lou got a totally unnecessary buff that made Brawl Stars players lose their minds? Yep, it happened at the end of 2024 when Supercell randomly decided to buff his reload speed. Oh, and let's not forget, that was the exact time he got his overpowered hypercharge. So now we had Lou, who was already pretty decent, suddenly freezing the entire map. And honestly, that South Park style skin kind of felt like Supercell sent us a message for Lou's buff. The SpongeBob event in 2024 was fun, unless you ran into Colt, because during that event, his chum balls turned him into the most hated brawler in the entire game. For the first time ever, players were begging to not see Colt go against them, because his passive ability basically gave him homing bullets, and not just slightly assisted shots. These things curved around corners and locked onto enemies even if you shot in the wrong direction. Events in Brawl Stars are usually total chaos, but you know what the best part is? Seeing your name at the top of the leaderboard. That #1 spot hits different, and on top of the bragging rights, you also get a ton of juicy rewards. Nothing feels better than that sweet victory. Macy's hypercharge is probably the closest thing we'll ever get to dropping actual nukes in Brawl Stars. The way it wipes out enemies and launches them in a huge radius, it's pure chaos and it feels amazing. Every time I use it, I swear I can hear "nuke incoming" in my head. So you haven't played Brawl Stars in a while, and now you've got a mountain of quests just waiting to be completed for that sweet Season X peak. And honestly, there's no better feeling. But the peak moment, the real satisfaction, is when you don't enter the lobby at all until every single quest is done. And then boom, you log in, claim it all at once, and watch that XP bar skyrocket. One player even managed to claim 20,000 XP in one go. That's not progress, that's simply art. There's no map more satisfying than the legendary skull map. You know the one. It's in every Brawler Olympics video ever, with all those perfectly lined up skulls just waiting to be smashed. And when they finally break, pure happiness. It's like your brain gets a high five. Being an OG player might sound cool, but it could actually make you the owner of the most cursed account in Brawl Stars history. Back when Supercell first dropped the game into open beta, you could create an account and end up with a 3-letter player ID. Yeah, just 3 characters. Some players managed to lock those in, and they still hold the record for the shortest IDs in the game. A lot of people thought these accounts belonged to devs, but nope, dev accounts got wiped shortly after release to avoid attention. These weren't devs, and they weren't abandoned either, because one of them was recently spotted joining clubs. So yeah, the legends are true. The most cursed account in Brawl Stars is still out there. Brawl Stars has had its fair share of glitches, some annoying, some hilarious, and while most of them eventually got patched, there's one weird one that's still around. Ever noticed a player using a pin for a brawler they don't even own? Like, you check their profile and boom, Angelo pin, but no Angelo? What? Turns out these aren't real players at all. They're bot accounts. And yeah, they show up a lot. So we're just gonna go ahead and call them what they are. Some of the most cursed accounts in Brawl Stars history. Fix your game, Supercell. During a tournament match where STMN went up against Zeta Division, Bobby was playing Piper in Knockout, and what he pulled off was insane. First, he was this close to getting eliminated eliminated. But at the last second, he popped his super and wiped out the entire team. And just when you thought that was lucky, he did it again. To be honest, I don't know what's more awesome, this play or his name. What Tensai is with Max, Pika is with Bull. And at this point, we should all know that. When Pika showed up, a lot of Brawl Stars players who thought old school brawlers like Bull were totally useless suddenly had a change of heart. Because believe it or not, Pika pulls off some of the most insane Bull plays you'll ever see, like wiping out entire teams in seconds. His arrival basically proved one thing loud and clear: it's not about the brawler, it's about the skill. If you've ever found yourself watching Brawl Stars trick shot compilations just to kill time, there's a very good chance you've seen a video from the one and only Ice Piper. Let's be real, this guy basically carried the entire trick shot scene. Without him, those satisfying shots and jaw-dropping plays probably wouldn't have hit the same. He gave us the content we needed for our morning cereal routine. So yeah, thank you Ice Piper for your service. Did you know Brawl Stars actually knows math? Sounds weird, but it's true, and 8-Bit proves it. If you hop into a custom match and fill the map with slowing tiles, 8-Bit moves like a turtle, right? But here's the twist. If you throw in B's slowing totem on top of that, 8-Bit suddenly goes insanely fast. Yeah, double negative equals positive. So basically, Brawl Stars knows that minus and minus equals a big fat plus. Now, a lot of players might not agree with me on this one, but hypercharges had a pretty lame introduction. When they first dropped, they were given to early brawlers like Bull, Shelly, and a few others. And let's be honest, they felt like Super 2.0. It was like someone mashed a gadget and a super together and called it a day. People seriously thought Supercell had run out of ideas, but over time, things changed. Supercell actually listened to the community and started tweaking hypercharges into something way more fun. And now, they're one of the coolest features in the game. So hey, glow-ups happen, but not for Edgar. We've talked about the strongest brawlers, but now let's talk about possibly the worst brawler ever added to Brawl Stars, Colette. And there's actually a very good reason why. She was the first brawler to deal damage based on a percentage of the enemy's HP. Sounds cool until you realize that if you deal a fixed percentage every time, you'll never finish the job. Like ever. It's basically infinite math torture. This one mechanic made Colette literally incapable of securing kills on her own. So yeah, her entire existence kind of proved that Supercell might have skipped math class. Here's a secret way to score a goal using what I like to call the Kenji Bluetooth method. If the ball's just sitting near the goal and you don't have time to run up and shoot it, don't panic. Just aim Kenji super slightly to the right and his final slash will perfectly push the ball straight into the goal. If you're playing Lily and both you and your enemy have super ready, there's a sneaky trick you need to try. Just throw out Lily's teleport super like normal, but right as it lands, activate her dimension gadget. If you time it perfectly, you'll teleport and completely dodge the enemy super at the same time. Don't just waste Juju super like a noob. If you actually want to do it right, first sneak into a bush and use a gadget. Then once you're right up in the enemy's face, throw the gadget and go full spam mode on your shots. You should use Lola's clone as a defense shield. When you place her clone in front of you and enemy, you'll deal more damage and have better defense at the same time. When playing Squeak in heist mode, bounce his super off the wall to deal even more damage to the heist safe. With Belle, try to pinch your enemies into tight corners. This way you can bounce her shots easily and hit enemies guaranteed. Don't make this classic Byron mistake. If you use his gadget before his super, you're essentially wasting his super because it won't recharge his super at all. But if you use super first, then gadget, you'll actually get a full super back. Attack and super fast with Stu to become the best Stu player. When using rough super with hypercharge, wait for hyper to run out before picking up a booster to recharge his hyper again. Everyone knows Bull can literally run over water. Like seriously, he just charges straight through it while the rest of the brawlers are out here acting like water is lava. But have you ever wondered, is there a limit to how far he can go? Well, I decided to test it. At first, Bull was cruising over water like it was nothing. But just when I thought he could go infinite, he hit a 21 tile pool. And he just stopped right at the edge. So yeah, turns out 21 tiles is where Bull finally meets his limit. November 2023 was a rough time for gem grab lovers. And the reason was actually Charlie. A lot of players don't realize this, but when she dropped, her super had one of the most broken mechanics in the game. You could literally steal gems just by cocooning someone. No need to defeat them. Instead, just throw the super, trap them, and boom, they drop all their gems. And let's just say, a lot of matches were won in the most unfair way possible. I bet you didn't know that Miko was actually free for a limited time during Brawler days in late 2023. And yeah, that decision made a lot of players angry. I mean, just look at him. He can jump, steal ammo, and basically plays like Mortis, but with the power to leap over walls. So once he dropped for free, every lobby suddenly turned into a Miko apocalypse. And it wasn't just the chaos. Players also found game-breaking glitches that let him survive forever in Showdown's Poison Zone. Miko quickly became one of the most hated brawlers in the game. right up there with Edgar. Griff is actually amazing. I don't know what it is, but using his super to shred enemies with flying cards feels like a Silent Shelly super. It's clean, it's fast, and it absolutely melts people. Many players didn't expect Hank to be fun, but after getting his hypercharge, he's actually a blast. Literally. With his supercharged super, he can turn the battlefield into a full-on fireworks show. And if you grab a friend who's also playing Hank and you both start spamming supers, the bullets will spin around you like a wild ride. Zero strategy, perfect entertainment. One of the most cursed accounts in all of Brawl Stars belongs to YouTuber Ray, and it's all because he somehow created a club with 0 trophies. Yeah, if you've ever wondered why you never see anyone with 0 trophies in a club, it's because Supercell doesn't allow it anymore. You need at least 400 trophies to join or create a club now. So how did Ray pull it off? Simple. He made the account before that rule existed and just never touched it. 0 trophies forever. Honestly, it's like he invested in making the ultimate cursed account. Most players know that Mastery has a reward cap, but what many players don't know is that it doesn't have a points cap. Yeah, even after unlocking the final Mastery title, you can still keep stacking points on that brawler. And one player took that to a whole new level by creating one of the most cursed accounts ever. If you check his stats on Brawl Ace, you'll see it over 1.2 million Mastery points on tick. That's not just dedication, that's straight up madness. Just imagine how many hours of pure tick gameplay that took. I'm just saying, don't leave this guy alone near anything explosive. One cursed account is already weird enough, but you know what's even crazier? Facing 3 cursed accounts in the same match. That's exactly what happened to this player who rewatched their replay and noticed something was seriously off. The enemy team, Mandy, Colt, and Dynamite, only had a handful of brawlers unlocked, literally just those 3 and Shelly. That's it. Turns out it wasn't a coincidence. They were actually working together. A full squad farming cursed accounts like it was some kind of glitchy business operation. It's pretty rare to see a player so good that they completely blow your mind, but when it happens, it's unforgettable. One of those players is RHZ, who showed up in the Brawl Stars Championship and absolutely cooked the competition. Using only Max, he dodged every single bullet like it was the Matrix and wiped out entire teams on his own. The way he played, it had viewers wondering if Tensai secretly jumped on the account. Honestly, it might have been him. Snake Thug is one of Brawl Stars' most well-known YouTubers. Yeah, you probably knew that. But what most people don't know is that he's secretly a beast at the game. Like that one time he was pushing B to high ranks and 6 teamers decided to gang up only on him. 6 teamers, all targeting one guy. Most players would have panicked or rage quit, but not Snake Thug. He actually took all of them down one by one. Snake Thug may actually be the most underrated pro out there. Speaking of teamers, Hyra had one of the most savage encounters ever. He was playing Showdown when he noticed something suspicious. A whole group of players standing way too close without attacking each other. Classic teammate. But Hyra, he wasn't scared for a second. He locked in Mortis, dashed straight into the chaos, and unleashed pure destruction. One by one, he wiped them all out like it was nothing. Honestly, that's just embarrassing for the teamers. Did you know Max used to look kinda slurpy back in the day? Most players have no idea, but her profile icon has actually been changed 3 times. And honestly, it's probably the one that needed it most. Her first icon, she looked kinda chunky and had this super suspicious liquid around her mouth, as if she just chugged a mystery energy drink and forgot to wipe. It looked weird, so Supercell removed the drool, but kept the bulky design. And finally, we got the clean, normal looking Max we have today. But let's be real, we'll never forget Drooly Mac. That was just too weird. Did you know you can actually play as Super Mario? And yeah, he can jump and stomp. Sounds insane, right? So how did players find this secret? Well, it's not exactly a secret. It's a banned speedrun. To play as Mario, you'd have to download something called Amazing Stars, which is basically a modded version of Brawl Stars. And knowing Supercell, the second you boot that up, your account is as good as gone. So yeah, maybe don't try to turn Brawl Stars into Mario Party. When you hear bots in Brawl Stars, you probably think of bad randoms or those training ground punching bags. But would you believe me if I told you there were bots with Ultra Instinct? Back in the day, some bots actually invaded the game and they weren't messing around. These things could perfectly calculate projectiles and dodge every single shot like it was nothing. Hackers used them to grind accounts, and they even stream sniped popular creators just to ruin their matches. It was pure chaos until Supercell finally snapped and banned them all. And it's time to the worst update ever. Edgar. That name still haunts the Brawl Stars community to this day. When he first dropped, he became the first brawler to have built-in lifesteal on his main attack. Combine that with ridiculous damage and an insane reload speed, Yeah, chaos. He dominated the game until Supercell finally nerfed him with a bunch of balance changes. But even now, they keep bringing him back in those broken event mutations like nothing ever happened. Remove Edgar, please! For this next very controversial update, we're diving deep under the sea. Or at least that's what the season was called, Deep Sea Brawl. We got Otis, some clan quests, and yeah, that's pretty much it. No major features, no wild reworks, just a deep sea theme. If you could count every season since Brawl Stars launched, this one easily wins the award for the most boring update ever. Congrats, Deep Sea Brawl, I guess? Did you know Barry can charge his super and hypercharge without even attacking anyone? All you have to do is hop into Showdown and walk into the poison zone to take damage, then step back out to heal. Repeat that over and over to charge up. Here's a trick you probably didn't know with Sam. If you're about to get stunned or knocked back, drop your super right before it happens, then instantly use your gadget to cancel any brawler. With Gus, use your knockback gadget to push enemies into ghosts to explode them. Use Eve super at the back of the map to constantly put pressure on your enemies in the match. Play Griff in a 5v5 match. Just rush straight to the center of the map where everyone is bunched up and use his hypercharge. You can literally wipe out the entire enemy team in one go. Fang has a combo so insane it essentially shreds all brawlers. It goes like this: attack, super, attack, then gadget attack, and another super. Pretty insane, right? Use Janet's super as her escape card. Whenever you have it charged, don't rush enemies. Just fly away from the danger. Use Bonnie's non-cannon mode to shoot an infinite amount of super balls in a brawl ball. Spread out Grom's shots because they are really easy to predict. Also, playing him on a crossroad like maps will make it even easier to hit his shots. What happens if Belle's long-range shot locks onto a jumping target like Edgar? Will it actually follow him mid-air or just vanish into the void? Let's find out. So here I am playing Belle, and my friend's Edgar is about to jump right as the shot tries to bounce from a box onto him. And wait, what? Belle's shot just curves away and completely misses him? It just gave up. Looks like Edgar got lucky this time. Mortis might be the bringer of doom, but did you know he also brings souls? Yeah, if he uses super to eliminate enemies, you can actually see little ghostly souls fly straight into him. Super spooky. But here's the crazy part. What happens if you teleport right after using your super? Well, I tried it. I wiped out a group of enemies, hit teleport, and the souls literally chased me across the entire map. They followed me like I owed them rent. It was actually kind of awesome. Mr. P might be the real reason we don't see Big Boss mode in Brawl Stars anymore. If you go back to 2023, he was actually the final boss in that mode, and it was pure chaos. Not only did Mr. P have a massive health bar, but his porters had almost as much HP as he did, and he could spam them non-stop. It turned into a 5v5 boss battle with endless minions. Just imagine if he had his hypercharge back then. Speaking of trends, back in November 2022, Jackie's rebuild gadget suddenly went viral in the Brawl Stars community because players discovered a hilarious way to troll and brawl ball. They'd use the gadget to trap the ball behind a wall or obstacle, and if the enemy team didn't have a wall breaker, they were cooked. So if you saw Jackie during that time, you probably would have had a pretty frustrating match. Speaking of Crow, yeah, missing his super is funny and all, but hitting it on the safe? No, that used to be something else. If you landed Crow's hypercharge directly onto the safe, he'd melt its entire health bar in one go. Bye-bye safe. But of course, Supercell couldn't let us have fun forever. They added this new safe shield that knockbacks brawlers after they deal just a quarter of the damage. So now Crow just gets kicked off like he wasn't even invited. Thanks Supercell, another day, another ruined moment. Most players know Perry Lukey as one of the most OG cursed accounts. His account had almost every brawler at rank 35 with 0 trophies. Yeah, 0. But that's not even the craziest part. He kept one brawler, Sprout, at high trophies because he loves him. And when I say love, I mean obsessed. Perry even customized his account to look extra cursed and pushed Sprout's win streak to over 5,000. That's right, 5,000. Probably the highest Sprout win streak in the entire game. So yeah, find yourself someone who loves you like Perry Lukey loves his Sprout. This one weird Russian player somehow got 17,000 trophies without playing a single match? Yup, that's actually real. And no, he wasn't some top secret Russian hacker breaking into Supercell servers just to steal exactly 7k trophies. What he did do was exploit one super simple feature in Brawl Stars. See, in Showdown, if you place second, you can still gain trophies, but it doesn't count as a win. So this guy just spammed second place over and over again, farming trophies while keeping a 0 in his win stats. Now that's what they must mean by the second place curse. I bet this account will actually scare you because it has a total of 0 trophies. But Balootic, I could just make a new account and have 0 trophies too. Okay, yeah, but not like this. This account has golden tick, and literally every brawler unlocked, all with 0 trophies. But here's where it gets cursed. The account also has 18,000 wins in 3v3 and 2,700 wins in Duo Showdown. How? By spamming map maker maps. See, those give you wins, but don't touch your trophies. So this player grinded an entire account with upgrades and everything without ever gaining a single trophy. The dedication is insane and kinda cursed. Speaking of 0 trophy accounts, this one might be the craziest yet. There's a player out there who actually reached high ranks, specifically 35,000 trophies, and then decided to throw it all away. If you look at his stats, it says 0 trophies. But here's the twist. He didn't just stop playing. He manually lost every match to erase his entire progress. Hours of gameplay gone, just to hit rock bottom. Oh, and did I mention he maxed out all of his brawlers to level 11 too? Yeah, Supercell's matchmaking system isn't ready for this guy. When we think of a max main, one name instantly comes to mind, Tensai. Literally the best max player in the entire world. If you even watch one of his clips, it's actually insane. He dodges every single bullet like he's reading the enemy's mind in real time. It's not even gameplay at that point, it's art. I'm convinced he's secretly connected to Max through a hidden USB cable plugged straight into his brain. Did you know that Colette can pull off some of the biggest big brain plays in the game? Bigger than even Gobbling herself. In one tournament match, both teams were neck and neck, tied in gems, tensions rising. But then Colette did something wild. She popped her super, dashed in, and grabbed 1 gem. Just 1! And that tiny move was enough to push her team barely over the enemy score. It actually worked. And secured them the win. Sometimes, all it takes is a single gem, and a Colette with nerves of steel. Sprout might just be the strongest brawler in the game. Well, besides El Primo, of course. But hear me out. There was a time when Sprout could actually move the Ike turret using his wall. You could just throw down his super, and it would push the entire turret like it was nothing. Technically, you could say that a turret moved a turret. The Brawl Stars community was shocked when Supercell dropped daily streak rewards. Yup, actual free stuff just for logging in every single day. But things got even crazier when some players dug into the system and leaked the full list of rewards you could get over a year. And it's kind of insane. We're talking 6 hypercharges, 36 gems, 60 star drops, and a bunch of other goodies just for showing up. Who would have thought Supercell would ever be this generous? At least now you know. Never miss a day of your Brawl Stars addiction. Did you know that Rosa is a straight copy of El Primo? Yeah, when she dropped, players hated her. And honestly, they had a point. She was insanely overpowered. At the time, El Primo was already one of the best brawlers, so Supercell thought, hey, let's just make a stronger version, but with plants. And boom, Rosa was born. But after months of complaints and non-stop rage, Supercell finally nerfed her into the ground. And ever since, she's been one of the worst brawlers in the entire game. From being broken to totally forgotten. What a legacy. Did you know that back in the day, you could actually get the Brawl Pass without spending a single penny? Yup, it's true. Before the big Brawl Pass update, you could buy it using gems. And since gems were earnable for free, a lot of players just saved up and got the pass every season. It was awesome, but then Supercell changed everything. Now you have to use real money to buy the Brawl Pass. On one hand, the rewards did get better, both in the free and paid tracks. But on the other hand, it completely ruined the gem saving grind. So yeah, maybe not their worst decision ever, but definitely one that left a lot of players disappointed. This has to be the worst trio in all of Brawl Stars. Piper, Byron, and Barley. And the reason? They've got 0 synergy. Like, absolutely none. It feels like Supercell just threw 3 random brawlers into a group and called it a day. Sure, you can imagine they all work different jobs in the same town or something, but even the lore can't help this mess. They don't vibe, they don't match, and Byron just stands there menacingly. Sorry, trio fans, this one's a total flop. Oh, better watch how he moves. Literally, because if you walk to the right, his arrows spread out like fireworks. But if you move to the left, they suddenly tighten up and hit the same spot like a laser beam. Speaking of moving and shooting, Leon's the same. Moving to the right spreads out shurikens, and moving to the left concentrates them. Make sure to pop your gadget right as you're attacking with Shade, because if you time it just right, you'll get 2 boosted shots instead of 1. Abuse walls with Charlie. Every time you attack, make sure you're hiding behind a wall because her yo-yo doesn't care about obstacles on the way back. When you shoot the ball with Cordelius and there's a defender standing in the goal, just shoot the ball toward the goal, and right before it goes in, use your super, pulling the enemy into the shadow realm and leaving the goal wide open. Did you know Pearl can actually hit enemies through walls with her super? If someone's hiding behind cover, all you have to do is sneak up, time that super just right, and boom. Ray might just be one of the best troll brawlers in the game. In Brawl Ball, try shooting the ball forward, pull an enemy with your gadget, and then teleport straight into the ball. This way you did a self pass and destroy defense. Otis is a trap master, and you need to start playing him like one. If you're in a match, try throwing his super right into the center of the map, because chances are someone's gonna walk straight into it. Dynamite might be one of the hardest brawlers to master, and it's all because of his iconic Dyna jump. But once you get the hang of it, he becomes insane. I decided to see just how many Dyna jumps I could chain in a row, and yeah, it's totally overpowered. As long as you time it right and keep placing those dynamites perfectly, you can basically fly across the entire map non-stop. I guess that's why he has a canary under his hat. If there was one brawler who deserves a trophy for annoying people just by running away, it's gotta be Janet. When she dropped in 2022, she became the first brawler who could actually fly. And once players realized her super gave her full flight time, they used it to run around the map non-stop. Chasing her was like trying to catch a mosquito. Did you know that back in October 2022, there was an online trend that made tons of players suddenly start playing Mortis like total bots? Yep, it was the Mortis trickshot trend. Players were watching these compilations of pros landing insane trickshot goals like it was nothing, but when they tried it in an actual match, it looked nothing like it. It basically turned half the player base into bad randoms overnight. If you've ever played Brawl Stars for even a minute of your life, then you know what peak satisfaction feels like. Landing every single super as El Primo. There's just something magical about flying through the air, body slamming a poor brawler into the ground, stunning them, and then finishing them off with a barrage of punches. And the best part is, you could just keep doing it over and over and over. I can't stop, El Primo on top. Pro mains that chase you across the entire map just to get one kill are some of the most annoying players out there. But you know what the best part is? Most of the time, they're total noobs. So when they finally get their super, they panic, auto-aim, and launch themselves straight at you with zero calculations and brain cells. And if you already know the trick, just stand still. They'll miss it completely. It's actually hilarious. Like, bro, get out! Speaking of insane accounts, there's only one person in the entire world who owns every Brawl Stars skin ever released, and that's YouTuber Ray OJ. Yup, this guy's been grinding since day one, collecting every single skin, even the ultra exclusive ones most players never even saw in their shop. So yeah, his account isn't just legendary, it's also cursed. And not just cursed with dedication, it's also cursed with a melted wallet. I bet you didn't know there's a secret feature that can make your Brawl Stars account really stand out, and it's called the Prestige Badge. To get one, all you need to do is hit top 200 in the world with a specific brawler and trophies. And if you're still in that top 200 when the season ends, boom, Prestige Badge unlocked. Some players, like Hyra, have stacked a bunch of them, but there's one kit player who took it to another level with 170 badges. Well, he better get some prestige in touching grass. Did you know there's a pass so legendary, it should have entered the Brawl Ball Hall of Fame? Okay, the Hall of Fame doesn't actually exist, but if it did, this pass would be first on it. Because during a match between Zeta Division and Crazy Raccoon, Garo was playing Stu, closing in on the goal. Meow with Surge was the last line of defense. But the next thing that happened was just way too insane. Crazy Raccoon got possession and started passing until Surge went full pro mode, wiped out the attacker, grabbed the ball, and just as he was about to get taken out, bam! Last second trick shot pass to Garo, who scores. 1 in a million. Literal masterpiece. We've all seen how heist matches can come down to just 1%, but FUT actually pulled off one of the cleanest defenses against that kind of clutch play. As the enemy team pushed forward, their Daryl tried to sneak around and pull off a last second win by rushing FUT's safe, but FUT was ready. They were running a full-on defensive strat, and the moment Daryl rolled in, boom, shut down instantly. FUT safe was at 15%, enemy safe at 14%, 1% away from defeat. That was a close call. Some plays in Brawl Stars are so rare, they feel impossible to repeat, and one of them is that goal from Patchy. In this insane Brawl Ball match, his teammate passed him the ball, and Patchy, playing Daryl, rolled in perfectly from long range, timing it just right to score a goal literally a split second before getting eliminated. It's one of those moments you could watch 1,000 times and still not believe it happened. But did you know that Mbappe used to play Brawl Stars? Yup, it actually happened. If you dig through the official Brawl Stars YouTube videos, you'll actually find an old collab with Paris Saint-Germain where players like Mbappe were straight up playing Brawl Ball. And it wasn't just him, Neymar was there too. When fans saw their favorite football legends jumping into Brawl Stars, everyone was like, wait, what? Brawl Stars just casually became a crossover episode with FIFA. Did you know Wasabi basically turned Poco into an unkillable tank with infinite HP? Yup, his Wasabi gear lets him heal every time he takes damage, which sounds kinda okay until you realize how broken it is. Some players still don't get it and waste their entire ammo trying to take him down, while Poco just stands there unfazed with infinite heal. Supercell, it's time to nerf Poco. There was a time when Supercell literally scammed players without even meaning to. Inside the pin collection, some items were showing up as costing 0 bling. Sounds like a steal, right? But here's the catch. When players tried to grab those pins, they didn't spend bling. They spent actual gems. Turns out it was just a visual bug that showed the wrong value, but charged the real one. A bunch of players fell for it, lost gems, and Supercell later fixed the bug, but never gave the gems back. So yeah, more hidden transactions, I guess. But that's not nearly as crazy as the time Bonnie completely bugged out and her health bar went absolutely insane. Back in the day, if you entered a match and used your super just right, boom, her health bar would start flashing the most ridiculous numbers you've ever seen. I don't know about you, but every time I see that glitch, I start thinking Bonnie might actually be a Matrix agent. Back in the vertical version of Brawl Stars, you had to manually tap in the exact direction you wanted to shoot. There was no aim assist whatsoever. But with the landscape update, Supercell introduced the now infamous auto aim button. At the time, it was seen as a no skill feature, but for global players today, it's just a regular feature we spam all day. What's worse than adding a new level to the game? Well, adding 2. If we're being honest, the level 11 and Gears update is the worst of them all. Supercell dropped 2 levels at once, and it instantly created a massive gap between pay to win and free to play players. If you had money, congrats, you could buy your way to domination. But if you didn't, get ready to grind for weeks and get completely destroyed in every match. And don't even get me started on Gears. You couldn't even use them unless your brawler was level 10, and even then, they were ridiculously overpriced. The only way to get them was by collecting gear scrap, which was a total pain. Thankfully, Supercell eventually improved the gear system, but that doesn't mean we've forgotten about this horrible update. If you're about to die while playing Larry, try to quickly place Lori. Then, when you respawn, just use the position swap gadget, and you're instantly back at the spot where you died. You can actually control 2 entities at once using Willow? Yep, if you see Anita who just dropped her Bruce and managed to take control of her, the bear becomes yours too until it gets defeated. When using Mandy's super, charge it up from the bushes, because enemies can't see you loading it. Try hitting multiple enemies with Jae Young, because every time his attack connects, it actually gets stronger. Let's bound BB's bubble in the most satisfying way possible. So I loaded up a custom map filled with wooden fences, and just for some extra satisfaction, I added a bunch of skulls too. Then I let BB rip her bubble, and oh my god, it shattered almost every skull at once and bounced around like a pinball. It was absolute beautiful chaos. Miko is an annoying little monkey, and we all know it. But if you're sick of him bouncing around like it's a jungle, there's one perfect counter: Tick. Apparently, Tick can actually kill Miko while he's mid-air. So of course, I had to test it out. I picked Tick, my friend played Miko, and right as he launched his super, I started spamming bombs everywhere. And the second he landed, boom! Miko exploded mid-air. That's a straight up Uno reverse card for every Miko main out there. Let's talk about slowing down some supers with things, because when you do, things get way more satisfying. First up, we've got Draco breathing fire with his dragon, and yeah, it looks pretty cool in slow-mo. Then you've got Fang's gadget. This dude starts throwing shoes everywhere like he's in a rage quit animation, and they just fly through the air. Gale might look like one of the most underrated brawlers in Brawl Stars, but pro players know the truth. He's secretly broken. Especially when he first dropped in 2021, Gale became the first brawler who could push enemies away and cycle his super insanely fast. Also, his star powers are pretty good. One stuns, the other slows, and both are a nightmare to deal with. Players essentially used him to troll enemies by pushing them into zone, and close-ranged brawlers stood 0 chance against him. Back in 2021, players were begging for a nerf on none other than Nita. And no, it wasn't just Nita herself, it was Bruce. Her bear basically turned into a stun grenade. Players figured out a combo: spawn one bear, then throw a second one right onto enemies and spam the stun gadget. Add her fast punching star power on top of that, and you basically had a heat-seeking death bear that deleted every brawler. Ranked matches were hell, and Nita quickly became one of the most hated brawlers in the game. I bet you forgot that Surge used to have a gadget that let him teleport. Yup, back in late 2021, he was absolutely surged. Get it? Okay, I'm sorry. However, Surge mains could just sneak up on enemies, teleport over walls in stage 4, and delete them in a few shots like it was nothing. And if things became too dangerous, he could just teleport and run. But then Supercell stepped in and replaced the gadget with a stage upgrade one, and after that, Surge mains were probably crying in their rooms for a while. Have you ever wondered what peak Colt gameplay looks like? It's when you blaze through multiple enemies with just one ammo shot. It's clean, precise, and satisfying. But things get even better when you use that super and start even popping those walls. But to pull off those insane moments, there's one tiny requirement. You actually need to know how to play Colt first. You know when things need to get satisfying. That's the moment I call my bouncer, Rico. His entire kit is built for it, and when a function contains tight spaces, you already know it's about to get chaotic. Ultimate Rico Burst. I mean, his balls are just way too satisfying to play with. Sometimes you're even bouncing them off the walls for no reason at all, just because it feels good, and then you end up getting yourself killed. Daryl's honestly not even worth playing if you don't have his spinning gadget. Without it, you can't roll straight into the heist safe and unload every single shell into it like a walking turret. Take that, heist safe. One of the most mind-blowing moments in Brawl Stars history was when an entire team lost $100,000 because of a single troll pick. And the genius behind that decision was none other than Juan Carlos himself. During a high-stakes tournament, Juan thought it was a great idea to pick Kid on a wide-open map against a team of long-range sharpshooters. The second the match started, it was clear who was walking away with the prize money, and what looked like a simple troll quickly turned into a serious debate. Is Juan just a troll, or actually a noob? Either way, he delivered a legendary kit performance of 0-11, a score the entire Brawl Stars community will never forget. Speaking of fails, this one was brutal. During the 2024 World Finals, SK Gaming and Elevate were locked in a World Finals Brawl Stars match. SK pulled off a clean team wipe, and it looked like an easy goal was coming, but then Joker did something unbelievable. His teammates passed him the ball, then he rushed toward the goal, and instead of just scoring, he went for a cool trick shot. And yup, you guessed it, he missed it. Right at that moment, the enemy team respawned, stole the ball, and the whole play fell apart. This reminds me of a classic Mortis trick shot moment, just without Mortis. Speaking of Kenji, there was a time when he could ruin an entire match for everyone. No joke. If you picked him in the brawler menu and queued into Brawl Ball, and the map had water outside the borders, well, get ready for chaos. All you had to do was grab the ball, walk over to the edge, and use your super on the water. Boom! The ball would literally no-clip onto the water, completely unreachable. That was a clear sign for Brawl Stars to add water polo. After players figured out how easy it was to destroy Kenji using Spike and a few other overpowered brawlers, the next question was obvious. What happens if you actually beat all 16 insane levels? Unlimited sushi drops? Hidden rewards? Well, they tested it. And after finally clearing every level, a secret message popped up on the screen. You guys rock. That's it. Huh? That's cute, Supercell. I'll forgive the $10 bugs for now. This glitch could literally get you banned. When Supercell reworked rank, there was a short period of time where you could pick a brawler before it got banned and still use it after. Totally broken. But once players started abusing it, Supercell patched it fast. Try it now and the game just boosts you and gives you a ranked ban. So yeah, maybe don't. If you played Brawl Stars during its global launch, then you definitely remember the Leon drama. Right as the game went worldwide, Supercell dropped him as a brand new legendary brawler. But things got messy fast. For the first time ever, Brawl Stars introduced a brawler who was not only insanely overpowered, but also ridiculously hard to unlock. Leon's invincibility ability was totally new, his damage was broken, and unless you were super lucky or cracked open a mountain of mega boxes, you had zero chance of getting him, making him officially the first pay-to-win brawler. We all remember the excitement of opening boxes and pulling insane rewards, but Supercell thought they were being way too generous, so they scrapped them and replaced everything with star drops. Now sure, everyone knows that part, but what most people don't realize is how much it ruined the experience for longtime players who were already used to the old system. Star drops only give one item, and let's be honest guys, it's usually trash. Even today, this is still one of the most hated updates ever. But that wasn't nearly as disrespectful as this next update, because Brawl Stars literally changed the entire way the game was played in just one patch. See, back in the early beta days, Brawl Stars was played vertically, and it stayed that way for over a year. But then, just out of nowhere, Supercell dropped an update that switched the game to landscape mode. At first, it was badly received by fans, but in the long run, this update led to so many great features like gadgets and hypercharges. Not to mention that it saved us from tap-to-play gameplay. Yeah, I'm so glad they made this change. If you're using Crow, equip his damage reduction star power. Jump in, tag the enemies, and now they're dealing less damage while your team cleans them up with ease. Throw Spike's curveball in multiple directions to make it harder for enemies to dodge them. Shoot Tara's super on an open field, because if anything gets in a way while the enemy is getting dragged backed into the hole, it'll make the stun shorter. Place Penny's barrel close to the enemies to deal more damage with her shots. When playing Miko in Showdown, there's one thing you need to do. Equip the Record Smash Star power. Because with it, Miko can break boxes in just 2 hits, letting you grab power keeps way faster than anyone else. Doug has an amazing hot dog. Anyway, what most players don't know is that you actually shouldn't save Doug's revivability for the very last second. Instead, the real pro move is using it when you're around half HP, then rushing the enemy like a maniac to charge another super. That way, even if they take you out, you'll have another revive. Everyone knows Sprout can use his wall to give himself a little push, but what happens if we try to launch him over 100 tiles of water? Let's find out. I built a custom map with 2 tiny islands, so small that Sprout's wall can cover the entire thing. So I threw the wall and holy El Primo! Sprout actually launched himself across 100 tiles of water straight onto the other island. Guess we found the new fastest brawler in the game. And now, the Edgar. Dropped in 2020 and instantly became the king of no skill wins. He was the first brawler after Mortis to have lifesteal, but unlike Mortis, Edgar had it built right into his main attacks. And when you combine that with his jump super and also did damage, it was essentially game over. You'd just be walking down the map, minding your own business, and out of nowhere, boom! Edgar jumps on you, starts healing like crazy while you do 0 damage back. It was the golden age of skillless gameplay and literal definition of press button to win. Many players know that Crow's always been pretty strong in Brawl Stars, especially with some crazy mechanics like flying across the map with the ball in Brawl Ball. But even back then, he wasn't as hated as he was in late 2020. That's when his damage over time ability really started to drive people crazy, because that's exactly when Byron dropped, a brawler who also dealt damage over time. And together, players discovered the most annoying combo ever, Crow plus Byron. The constant chip damage made it nearly impossible for enemies to heal, and to make things worse, Crow also reduced enemy damage by 30% and could slow them down with his gadget. Back when players were already struggling with auto-aiming hackers ruining matches, Supercell decided to drop a brawler that felt like a straight-up joke, Amber. Her release was not well received, mainly because she was the first brawler that required 0 aim to play. Just hold the button and melt everything in your path. Her fire stream was long, super easy to control, and dealt a ton of damage. At the time, it honestly felt like Supercell looked at the hackers and said, you know what, let's just make a brawler with such a feature. There are 2 types of bots in Brawl Stars. First, the ones we hate, you know, the ones that ruin matchmaking and make every game feel like a tutorial. But then, there are the ones we love, the training grounds bots. And let's be honest, flashing those poor things into pieces when you're bored is probably the most satisfying way to spike your dopamine in this game. No pressure, no sweat, just pure bot destruction. Speaking of bots, nothing feels more satisfying than destroying them with Jae Young. This absolute beast of a brawler isn't just the fastest in the entire game, he also melts through mini bots like it's nothing. Honestly, he might be labeled as a support, but really, he's just supporting my satisfaction. We all know that Hank's super can create an absolute fireworks show when it hits enemies, but what happens when there's no one to hit? Well, it does something even cooler. The bullets just start spinning in an infinite circle like some kind of cosmic fidget spinner. And honestly, it looks amazing. I could watch that thing all day. Did you know that back in the day, you could trap players in your Brawl Stars stream? All you had to do was stream from the training grounds. Then, thanks to a bug, viewers couldn't exit the stream unless they fully restarted the game. Pretty sure some streamers farmed views hard while that glitch was around. Mortis was originally a ghost. Okay. You might want to correct me and say he's a vampire. Back in the day when he first dropped, Mortis had this insane glitch that basically turned him into a wall-phasing specter. All you had to do was stand next to a wall, spam his attack at just the right angle, and boom, he'd slide straight through it. You could literally jump scare brawlers from the other side like some haunted horror movie. So yeah, Mortis might have been Brawl Stars' first actual ghost. Kenji is overpowered. Okay, not actual Kenji. But this demon boss version from the Katana Kingdom event is just built different. Every time you defeat him, he comes back even stronger. Just like the OG boss fight back in the day. Good luck going over Insane 6 with this boss, unless they found a glitch, which they did. Right after the mode dropped, players discovered a bug that made beating Kenji a total joke. All you needed was Spike. Just drag Kenji into a corner, spam your super, and boom! Kenji's stuck while Spike heals himself non-stop. So yeah, Spike officially solos the entire Brawl Stars Stars universe. When using Ollie's super, players will usually predict it and try to do their super, but when you notice it that they're countering, use his jumping gadget to avoid the super. Mortis has a ton of mechanics, but one of the coolest ones is the wall dash. If you're playing Brawl Ball, bounce the ball off the wall, then dash to catch it. If done right, you're going to break your enemy's ankle. Most players have no idea that RT can actually deal double damage just because they're using his super all wrong. Everyone treats RT like a basic long-range brawler, but he's way more powerful up close. When you pop your super, both the body and the head deal damage separately. So next time 3 Edgars decide to jump you at once, just split and melt them with double the firepower. Equip Meg's knockback star power to literally explode on close range enemies when they rush you. Use Max's hypercharge only around all of your teammates because then you're all going to have fully charged supers. Colette has one of the craziest combos in Brawl Stars, and it can literally delete any brawler. All you need is 2 basic attacks and then hit them with your super and they're gone. Just like that. The only exception is if they've got a shield gear equipped. In that case, you'll need to throw in one more shot. As Meeple, here's the ultimate way to mess with your enemies. Just grab a friend who plays BB. Then the moment you spot an enemy, trap them with your gadget while BB uses her bubble perfectly. Now they'll get stuck in a bouncing bubble prison. Let's put Crow's boss killing powers to the test, because as many players know, his hypercharge was basically built to shred bosses. So I hopped into the training grounds to see just how fast he can melt the bot boss. Alright, here we go. Whoa, we're doing tons of damage already. And yo, the boss is only down in 5 seconds. Yeah, I think it's safe to say Crow's a true boss assassin. Controlling Nani's super can be a real challenge sometimes. So I came up with a genius idea. Peep racing. Me and my friends set up a track, took turns launching Peep, and whoever made it the furthest won the race. And let's go! Honestly, this was way more fun than it had any right to be. This literally has to become a game mode in Brawl Stars someday. 8-Bit's introduction is something Brawl Stars players will never forget. When he dropped, Supercell went all in on the retro arcade theme, but they also went a little too crazy with his star power. Yep, I'm talking about Extra Life. It literally let 8-Bot respawn with full HP after being defeated. Combine that with his tanky health, and he basically became the Doug of 2020 Brawl Stars. In Showdown, he was nearly unstoppable, but in other game modes, he was kinda useless. After enough chaos and complaints, Supercell finally swapped it out for boosted booster star power that focused on damage. I think Brawl Stars players are chronically addicted to Mortis. And honestly, can you blame them? His super is insanely cool. A swarm of vampire bats that heal you while damaging enemies? Yes, please. When it pierces through multiple targets? Pure satisfaction. But wait, throw in the rogue Mortis skin, and suddenly those bats turn into a spinning tornado that slams through enemies. It literally doesn't get cooler than that. Brawl Ball used to be fun. No, not because of that. I'm talking about the old maps with bouncers. Those maps were absolute chaos in the best way possible. You could pull off the craziest trick shots, bounce the wall off walls like you're some kind of genius, when in reality, you had no idea what you were doing. But it felt pro, and that's what mattered. Bring back the bouncers, Supercell. Did you know BB has a secret combo that lets her deal double damage? If you've got your super ready, try knocking an enemy back with your home run swing first, and then instantly launch your super during the knockback animation. It registers as 2 hits at once, and the damage doubles. Walls are Surge's best friend. And no, not just for hiding behind. As stage 4, Surge's shots actually deal more damage when they bounce off a wall. So if you see someone chilling near a wall, don't aim at them, aim at the wall. Sometimes the smartest move is doing nothing, especially if you're playing Kit. When you rush brawlers like Piper or Crow with your super, their first instinct is to super back at you. But here's the trick, just stand completely still. You'll end up dodging everything. When playing Jester, shoot first attack to set up 2-3-4 combo, which deals highest damage. Play Chuck on Heist game mode and set up flags so you can rush through safe unlimited times and win the match. When you go through bushes with El Primo, spam throwing gadget to avoid close range surprises. Yay, El Primo! When you activate Draco's super, just rush. Every hit helps you reload your super, so by the time your dragon form ends, you've already got it charged again. Do it right, and you basically stay in dragon mode forever. You should use Melody's melody. Get it? Okay, alright, bad joke, I know, sorry. But seriously, her floating music notes are kinda busted. And if you really want to melt enemies, or the heist safe, just spin counterclockwise around your target. Everyone knows Hank has a charge attack. That's nothing new. But what you probably didn't know is that he can actually activate his gadget while charging. Yeah, that means he can rush straight at you and randomly slow you down in the middle of it. Dynamite's got one of the most underrated hit and run strategies in the game, and it's amazing. When things get unpredictable, try this. Toss one bomb at the enemy and one under your own feet. Because if a close range brawler tries to rush you, you jump out of there while still dealing damage. Use Jean's super to cancel the enemy's super. If you time it just right, you can completely shut down brawlers like Mandy or Frank mid-super. Just yoink them in, and the knockback will cancel their ability and push them away. Fang's super is insanely fun to use. So today, I'm gonna try to pull off the longest chain hit ever. I've got a whole lineup of my friends just standing here, waiting to get absolutely destroyed. Alright, here we go! No wonder Fang feels like a Brawl Stars version of Jackie Chan. Back in 2020, Brawl Stars completely blew up, becoming one of the most popular mobile games ever. Nearly half of today's player base actually joined that year. And with Shelly as the default brawler and tons of sweaty matches going on, new players were all looking for an easy win. That's when Shelly bush camping took over the entire game. All you had to do was charge your super, hide in a bush, and wait to blast the first unlucky enemy who walked by, usually for an instant kill. It was the perfect noob strategy, and it drove the pros insane. Shelly mains were everywhere and they weren't playing fair. Shelly then officially became one of the most hated brawlers in the game. Did you know you can use Pearl to absolutely destroy Edgars and roast them in flames for all eternity? Yeah, it's true and I love it. Pearl was basically built to make Edgar mains suffer. Justice has never tasted so sweet. Did you know that kicking can actually be satisfying? Well, it definitely is if you're playing Fang. With his hypercharge activated, Fang can chain his kicks one after another, bouncing from brawler to brawler, sometimes wiping out the entire team in seconds. It's one of the most satisfying and overpowered moves in the game. Who knew feet could be this dangerous? Watch out! Spike's curveball incoming! Whew, seriously, no better feeling than that. Dodging those sneaky little cactus bombs feels like you're in Undertale fighting a final boss. Honestly though, with how tricky those curveballs are, maybe Spike is Sans in disguise. Here's a super secret mechanic for Edgar players. If you go to the home screen, you'll see the Brawl Stars app. Just hold it and click uninstall. Now you're gonna be much better at Brawl Stars. If you're playing Buster and Brawl Ball, there's a trick you need to know. It's all about his pole gadget. When you use it on an enemy, it drags them in, and while they're being pulled, they can't shoot or steal the ball. So if you time it right and yank the gold defender out of the way, you get a free goal. Jackie's rebuild gadget is straight up OP. If you ever get the chance to use it, do it. Whether you're trapping enemies, blocking the ball, or just causing chaos, this gadget gets the job done. Did you know that Buzz super stun actually gets longer the farther away he hooks you from? So if you're playing Buzz, always go for those long range hooks. Auto aiming with Byron is guaranteed hit most of the time. M's max range is designed to deal max damage. So every time you spray, the last cloud wave stays a little bit more than the other clouds and therefore deals more damage. Just like Nita, Gale's attacks are wider and they offer a sneak peek mechanic, which is actually even better than Nita's sneak peek. Everyone knows that with Hank's Hypercharge, we finally got to see actual fireworks in Brawl Stars. But have you ever wondered what happens if there's no enemy for that Hyper Beam to lock onto? Well, time to find out with the secret Willow trick. So here's the plan. Willow takes control of Hank right as he activates Hyper, and oh my gosh, Hank's Hyper just starts spinning around himself. I honestly didn't expect that at all. This might be the most beautiful bug I've ever seen. Janet might just be the most satisfying brawler to break skulls with, and I'm putting that to the test. But no, I'm not using her super to bomb everything. Instead, I'll use her drop the base gadget. Because it deals damage in a radius, so if we place it just right, it should absolutely shatter those skulls. And oh my god, she actually does break all the skulls. It literally wipes out every single skull in range with one click. That's just too satisfying to watch. When using Macy, there's one combo that turns her into an absolute menace. The moment you pop her gadget, follow it up instantly with her super. She becomes super fast, super unpredictable, and her super suddenly covers way more enemies. Pretty super if you ask me. Don't be afraid to step outside Angelo's super circle. While it sounds like the boost only works inside the poison ring, that's not exactly how it plays out in real matches. Turns out when you leave the circle, your attack actually stays boosted for about 1 extra second. Just enough time to line up clutch shots when repositioning. Keep your distance when playing Ash. His attacks might look short-ranged, but his range is actually one of his biggest strengths. If you're not spacing properly, you're basically turning Ash into a walking trash can. Speaking of taking a step back, Barley is another brawler who can totally take advantage of it. Or at least, the players who still play him. When you throw out his super and then immediately back up, the splash zones actually spread out and cover a way bigger area. Nita's got a secret trick up her sleeve save that most players don't even know about. Thanks to her super wide attack, she can actually sneak peek around walls. If you're near a corner, just peek out slightly and fire. Her attack will still hit enemies hiding nearby without fully exposing yourself to their shots. If you play Colt, there's one thing you must know: how to actually land your shots. Just spraying bullets isn't enough. You need to follow the enemy's movement and predict where they're going. Otherwise, you're just decorating the map with bullets for no reason at all. Poco's not a super brawler unless Supercell randomly gives him a broken modifier. But in regular matches, if you actually want to play Poco right, you need to understand his real support role. That means 99% of the time, your job is to heal your teammates and maybe use that other 1% to poke enemies when it actually matters. So yeah, you're not the star of the show, you're the medic. Say Invisi-Heal to an OG Brawl Stars player and watch them start twitching. Because yeah, it was that broken. Right after Brawl Stars went global in 2019, Leon was hands down the most overpowered brawler in the entire game. And the reason was that cursed Invisi-Heal star power. Back then, it healed him 1000 HP per second while invisible. So he could be losing a fight, pop his super, vanish, heal to full in seconds, and then come back swinging like nothing happened. And the worst part is he'd hit you a few times, instantly recharge his super, and do it all over again. We could say back then Brawl Stars was at the peak of P2W. Starting off with Brock, because did you know he has a secret wall hack? Well, kinda. If you see an enemy hiding just behind a wall, all you have to do is fire a rock directly at it, and somehow the damage actually hits them through the wall. I bet you didn't know that Daryl is basically a safe demolisher in Heist. If you equip his spinning gadget before the match, roll right into the middle of the safe and activate it, boom, he starts spinning and every single shot lands inside the safe, dealing a massive chunk of damage. And now that gadget's recharged during the match, it's even more broken. Don't ever make this rookie mistake with Carl. When you throw his pickaxe, always try to position yourself near a wall, because if the pickaxe bounces off a wall, it comes back way faster. But if you throw it into empty space, yeah, enjoy standing there like a clown waiting for it to return. Without the bounce, Carl becomes straight up garbage. Bull has a secret trick that makes his hypercharge feel way longer than it actually is. Unlike most brawlers, Bull can activate his hypercharge during his super right as he's about to crash into someone. And if you miss your super, no problem, because you can actually hold off on using hypercharge and save it for the perfect moment. Did you know that Clay Pigeons is actually Shelly's most important ability? Yup, it can completely change how you play her. Sure, it gives her long range shots, but that doesn't mean she's suddenly a sniper. The real trick is using it at medium range, just far enough so that all the shotgun pellets land perfectly on your target. So yeah, stop trying to snipe across the map. When playing 8-bit, the best combo you can run is his teleport gadget with the boosted booster star power, because you can drop your turret, play super aggressive, and the moment things get risky, boom, you just teleport. It's like giving 8-bit a personal escape button, and trust me, it makes him way scarier. Kaze has the most unique mechanic. If you ever get hit with Bell's mark, you can just switch Kaze's form and poof, the mark disappears. Bell mains are probably crying in the corner because of this. Amber isn't the aimbot machine people think she is, and here's why. If your enemy is standing at the very edge of your range, they can dodge your fire super easily, especially if they've got a speed boost. So the moment you see someone far away, just aim. Unless, of course, you're still out there missing bots in the training grounds. Did you know that Finks basically stole Charlie's super? Yeah, sounds crazy, but it's kinda true. His time stop gadget literally freezes enemies in place, just like Charlie's super does. And if you're playing Brawl Ball, this means you can get free goals. Just pop that gadget, freeze the defender, and shoot the ball. The best way to use Lumi's super is to just move back. Literally, that's it. Her final super blast has the biggest radius, and by backing up while using it, you line up the shot way easier and hit targets effectively. Who can pull off the fastest turret dive in Brawl Stars history? In this custom match, we're testing just that, with speed modifiers cranked all the way up. On team 1, we've got El Primo, and on the second side, we've got Edgar. The goal is to melt that Ike turret as fast as possible before the enemy does. Okay, we're going straight in. Oh no, it's close. And boom, we win, as always, because obviously I'm playing El Primo. What happens if you buy the Brawl Pass right as the season is ending? Well, time to find out, and my wallet's already crying. So with just a few seconds left on the clock, let's hit purchase. And the goal is to see if we get all the rewards from the season, or magically skip to the next one. Yo, what the heck? We got 80 gems as compensation and absolutely none of the Brawl Pass items. Yep, turns out you just spent way more than 80 gems worth of real dollars for 80 gems. Curse you, Supercell! Can Buster deflect a nuke? Well, we don't exactly have nukes in Brawl Stars, but we do have a fun little experiment.
This guy gathered a bunch of his friends and told them all to shoot him at the same time right as he pops his super. They thought they had him, but he thought otherwise.
And guess what? Every single attack got deflected like they were throwing paper balls at a tank. This literally feels as if I was some kind of Brawl Stars final boss. Starting with the most trolled brawler in the game, Poco. Back in the early days, Poco was the pick for that one friend who had no idea what they were doing, and their only job was to heal the better player. But when star powers were introduced, Pokemains decided they were done being support bots and started going aggro with Screeching Solo. And ever since 2018, the community has been begging for Supercell to nerf Poco. Did you know Rosa used to have 35,000 HP, which is why she became the most hated brawler back in 2019? You see, Supercell thought it was a great idea to give her a super that reduced 80% of all incoming damage. At max level, she had 7,000 HP, and with that shield, she was basically walking around with 35,000 HP for a few seconds. It was like fighting the final boss, and your only real option was to run. Eventually, balance changes hit, and now she's just forgotten old meta.